Follies update. Alright, so I figured I'd at least post a short video, which will wind up not being a short video anyway. Kind of what I got to, or more accurately, what I did not get to during my wonderful week off. Alright, so let's kind of look down here the list and see what we got accomplished here. Alright, the Wallace scene, yeah, that's underway. In fact, I'll mention this, I have a whole bunch of other videos in progress to be worked on that'll be detailing all this. So the Wallace scene, working, videos underway on that, not yet done. Super trees, yeah, I didn't get any of that done. I looked at the super trees, I got upset because they're all scraggly and falling apart because I think they're so old. But I did work on some other trees, some commercial trees. I'll throw a couple segments in on that just to pad the run length of this video. And one of the subscribers contacted me. I'm not going to mention his name yet, but he's got some great ideas on how to work super trees. And I'm going to take his advice and actually try some stuff. Really, really good. He does nice work. So maybe if he's agreeable, I'll throw his name out there at some point. The 6 cars, yeah, nope, I didn't do that, but I did actually do +1. I added another one. So now I got 7 cars to finish. The Sharon station scene, yes, the kit is actually now finished. I could pan to the right and show you, but I'm not going to do that because I'm going to tease you. It's done, ready to be installed. So I'm going to wait, and again, that's going to be a long video on that. That's the scene, how I integrated it, how I did the platform, how I built the building, anyway, and I want to get that done. So that's coming. That's a long video. Paint silver nah, I didn't do that. Fix the RDC3, I didn't do that. Get a decoder installed, nah, I didn't do that. Although, I was looking at the locomotives, but I just didn't do it. I watched one of the NMRA-X virtual clinics by, is it Kaylee Zhang? Very well done on using iPhone speakers. And they give their contact information. I actually reached out to her, and I bought 3 iPhone speakers from them. And I'm going to try those. So that will be coming. I didn't fix the ammonia supply. It's still there, broken. Detail parts, yeah, I did a fair amount of that. So I'll show some of what I did there, again, just to pad the run length. I did get a lot of stuff done there. All signals ready or installed. Yep, nope, didn't even look at that. So, what would I grade myself for the week? C+. But again, some of these things were a lot of work. As usual, doing a Craftsman kit, sort of a Craftsman kit, for that station was more involved, and I made it more involved, of course. You know me, I had to add details and lights, and then add more lights, and go back and do this and that and that. And the scene over in Wallace is taking some time. I did build another small shed for that. That's kind of a scratch bash for Wallace. That's another video coming up too. So I have 3 or 4 videos in the works. And yes, I do have some segments of trains running, but that's going to take some time because I want to do it right. I'm not just going to throw a train just blasting them. I want to kind of do it right and get the camera set right and try to make it look focused and everything. So that's taking me some time, but I do have 1 or 2 of those done, and I just want to work on some more before I post a video. Not just one train, it'll be a couple, an afternoon at Wallace or something like that, something silly, some rail fan video. But it is in the works. It really is. I just haven't got it done yet. Okay, and then so another thing I also did for the you don't care about my little brass pieces, but these are some Prizer carts and whatnot. They're for the station scenes. I got those done, as well as other detail parts. So, overall, not bad. Again, it's amazing how the time flies when you're working on involved things. But so that's it for the first week. I will now, following this, will be just some update segments. Some of the generic things I did, not the major ones. They're coming as well. And I'll throw a list up at the end of what the other major videos coming will be once I get those done and through editing. And some of those are getting pretty close. And yes, as I mentioned, yes, train's running. It's in the works. Might be a little bit longer just because I want to kind of make it a little bit more, I'm not going to say professional. Nothing I do is professional. But just a little more, what do I want to say? I want to make it a better video. mean, people have been asking for it, so I might as well take my time and try to make it right. So, all right, more to come on that. I do have another week of Furlough Follies coming up, and we'll see what we get to that week. But for now, that was the first one, and stay tuned for some segments on things that did get done during the week, and then stay tuned for other videos that'll showcase the much more involved items that were being worked on. The devil is in the details. Alright, because one of the things I wanted to do was get a bunch of details primed up, weathered up, ready for use around the various scenes and layout. So these are, I'm looking here, I think everything here actually came out of the fine scale miniatures kit. Like I said, for the most part, they're very clean. A little bit, typical on those, white metal type castings. There's just a little bit of cleanup on some of them. But for the most part, they're amazingly clean. So they're primed. I use my Vallejo German Field Gray. I just love it. It's a good primer. I'm using it as a primer. So these are all ready now to be further painted and stuff. I got some barrels back there. They're going to be for the new scene over in Wallace. There were some nice doors and windows. I love these freight. These are hard to come by. Decent freight doors, freight house doors, that kind of stuff. So that's all all the fine scale kit, and they're all primed up and waiting for the next project. And then a lot of these will be painted. This is actually a pretty clever idea. As I move the camera here, this is a door, but it's a door on both sides. So if ever we're going to do an interior, it's kind of neat. It's stuck to the tape. So door on one side, door on the other side. So if you're going to do an interior wall that's visible, it's a door on both sides. Nice, I like that. So awesome. And then I also made up, these are from Rusty Stumps, and they are still available. It's a different manufacturer. Rail Scene or something. I'll have to I'll put a little crawl down below where it's from. These are neat, and they make really nice shipping crates, and I got some made up here. The first one I did was a little tiny one, and then I added a little white paper packing slip on top. Although unfortunately I can't write in HO scale. Oh, I'm so lame. And then the other one I made was this one, which I thought was a box like that. And I wanted it like that because I was going to do that to it. In a moment, I'll explain that. But actually, it builds this way. So I was like, okay. And it's so tall, when I was looking at the carrier, again, I don't know if this will show up. But what I did was, it's kind of neat because the crate is labeled, and it's labeled top, bottom, sides. So I just cut out the top from the carrier sheet and just glued it on there as opposed to a stencil. I just said, hey, the guys made it, and just slapped it on the top of the box. And then, of course, there's a packing slip thing there. So I did it on both sides. I thought it was kind of fun. I don't know if they would actually do that or not. But hey, they're there. They're right on the carrier sheet. So I thought that'd be fun. So don't throw away the carrier sheets. You never know what this stuff might be useful for. And then I also use, it's nice and thin, so I actually cut it as the wood for the behind where the packing list is mounted. And then, let me move the tall box out of the way. On this one, this is what I wanted to do. This box I wanted to be open and have a motor or two, so I got 2 motors in there now. So I had to do a little bit of extra work on this, in that the sides and stuff, they weren't quite right. So I customized the bottom, beefed it up a little bit. There's some 4x there, because these are pretty heavy, so you're going to make sure the box is going to be able to hold them when you forklift them around. And then I was able to use this piece from the kit, I think front and back, but these 2 sides didn't match up because it's a top and a bottom. So what I did was I took scale 2x6s and 2x4s and just made my own sides and glued them together. They're not perfect, but again, when guys are building these, they're not freaking building the Taj Mahal. They're just slapping together a box. Trust me, I've been in the field with guys making boxes to return bushings to our bushing plant, and they make them, but they just make them. There's nothing fancy about it. So what I like to do, like I said, is I got these 2 little cool little motors in there. Leave it open, have it sitting on a dock somewhere. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some, more dunnage, more wood in there to secure these inside the crate. And then there is the top piece for it. So I'll be leaning back there like, the customers come in to inspect it, either on the way in or before it ships out or something like that. I just thought that would look cool. A little bit different. Because, yeah, it's a nice box, but, yeah, everything's closed. What fun is that? So, that's, again, part of the detail work I wanted to get done. A little bit more work on that one. That'd be a pretty cool scene. All right. Getting there. Getting there. Today's only day 1. Woohoo! Yeah, here's another little side project I did. I wanted to have a neat little industrial crate of something over in the new area in Wallace. So I said, all right. So here's a little, this is a Rusty Stumps shipping crate that I had to modify to make it horizontal like this. And inside you can see I put 2 motors and some additional dunnage and fun stuff in there to make it look like they're packed up. The roof. The box lid is loose. I just have it kind of sitting back here, my gigantic fingers. So that'll probably prop it up. And again, I had to kind of work on custom building the sides. The bottom's a little bit beefed up because these are a little bit heavier. Little packing slip information there. So there you go. I don't know if that's how they do it. I'm no expert on how to freaking secure, what are these? I don't know, 40, 50 horsepower motors? I'm not sure. I'm not a good motor guy. But anyway, so that's a little crate to be added to the scene over in Wallace. Do that. Maybe have a pry bar laying on there or something like that. Like they came in for inspection prior to be picked up by the customer. So, okay. Again, a little bit of a side project that was done. Alright, here's another side project, and another reason I didn't get as far along as I had hoped during the furlough week. But behind the new little shed type auxiliary building over in Wallace, I said, you know what, would look kind of cool. How about a fence behind it before it goes down to that little gully behind it? So I said, alright, fine. So I made this up. These are from Model Scene, and I had them for a while. Really flippin' fragile. I mean, this stuff is like tissue paper thin. 4 sections, each about 20 feet, so I have 80 feet of fence. Glued them together. All I really give you are the 2 horizontal pieces, so I added some other stuff in there. They give you like one of the horizontal pieces, I guess, to go in there. Well, I came back and said over time, you can see it's kind of a hodgepodge. They added things in different places. That's a bigger board they added there. These other ones are 2x4s. And who knows? Again, they sent Cletus out to fix it, and he just grabbed whatever he had and whacked it up. I had to add the 4x as the vertical legs. Then I just scabbed in some other lumber here. This is the end. That's going to be up by the little bridge crane. So maybe that's that's something where they can tack on instructions, incoming freight. I don't know, something like that. And this is the side you're going to see more. So, and then I went back in and weathered it. I sprayed the whole. I wasn't going to stain it because, good Lord, this stuff would have curled, 6 weeks to Tuesday. So I went ahead and painted it. I sprayed it with the Vallejo Hobby German Field Gray, which is kind of a good aged wood type starting point. Then it came in with various Vallejo washes, blue gray, some dark green, desert dust, a little bit of rust, dark rust, just various colors, just to kind of age it a little bit. Because on the layout, I was going to pop down here, but boop, it's actually going to sit this way, like that. So you'll kind of be able to see both sides a little bit, but more this side. This side is right by a gully. It'll have some, bushes and shrubbery growing out, so you won't see that a whole lot. But I did, just for the torture. I went in and went ahead and weathered this side as well, just to age it a little bit. Good enough for where it's going to be. So So again, this little side project took me several hours to fiddle with, but I think it'll look pretty good when it's in. So again, this is a kind of a bonus, wasn't on my list, but wanted to get it done for the scene over in Wallace. Can we talk trees, please? Alright, so I do want to get the area between Wallace and Lake City forested up a little bit, but I don't really feel like building my own trees. I mean, I talk a lot about trees. I'm kind of a tree snob, I guess. But then again, I can't put my money where my mouth is because I've never actually built my own trees. Anyway, but I had these for years. I was actually going to sell them. But I thought, you know what? Let me see if I can salvage them. These were from, oh man, I can't even remember. Canyon Creek or something like that. And they were, I don't know why I bought, they were ugly yellow and some gross looking rusty sawdust looking like piece of crap. Anyway, so what I did was, say, okay, I mean, I like them. They're pretty good size. I mean, that tree is standing 8, 9 inches. I mean, that's a nice tall tree for a backdrop. So I took it out to the garage and I spray painted it with basil floral color, and then sprinkled on some knock foliage. And you can still see some of the color in there, but you know, it looks okay. I think a little bit of lighter color is not bad. Now, this is not a great looking tree, and the intent is not as a foreground. This is to be back, you know, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet from where you're going to see it. I just want something back there to make it look like, hey, there's trees there. Now, what I also did, these did have wood trunks, so they look pretty good. But I did come in on both of these just to see, because it was kind of peely. I took some of this Vallejo Environment, which is an acrylic paste, basically. It's mud and grass. And then I came in and I went around the trunk. You have to dab your brush in it. It's like a paste. And then, you know, wet it down a little bit, just to kind of give the trunk a little bit more texture. I think it improved it a little bit. I know you can't tell from before because I didn't do a before picture, but okay. So that tree, yeah, and they came with those spikes there, so I kind of like that for planting. And did the same for this one. This was the ugly rust type. No, this might have been the yellow one. I can't remember. Again, I'm not saying the foliage is perfect. You know, for this kind of tree, is it too dense? Probably. But I think for a background tree, it'll be okay. And I did the same thing to that trunk. Not that you're really going to see it. I was just kind of more playing around just to kind of see what I could or couldn't do. So I think those two are good. And I actually have 4 of those. So, okay, not bad. Now let me pause and bring in some other ones that I'm not sure about, but we'll see. Okay, these two, and I have 2 of this size and 2 smaller ones. These are, I think, made for Scenic Express. And they call them, I don't know, ready-made deciduous trees or something like that. I mean, when you first get them, again, I picked the wrong colors. I don't know what I was trying to do. They look like absolute crap. You know, bright, shiny brown plastic. It was obvious these things were kind of garbage. So what I decided to try, I initially painted the trunk with, actually with the Vallejo German Field Gray, because it was a nice gray color. Again, took it outside, painted it with the basil floral spray, sprinkled on some knock foliage, and then went back with some of the green and hairspray to secure everything. Well, that got the trunk a little green, which of course it wouldn't be. It still is in some areas. But then I came back in again, came downstairs. Timber! Oh, I did add a little spike there at the end and drilled a, I don't know, drilled a hole, put a number 18 spike with the head cut off, super glued it in there so I can plant the bad boy. And then, again, I don't know how this is going to show, but I came in with, again, with the same texture, and I also tried some other, okay, it's hard to lay these blades down. This is just not going to cooperate today, is it? I don't know if I can get the light on it. Alright, so on this one, again, I was trying to play with the trunk because it looked terrible. I put on that kind of yellowish area is, again, from Vallejo. This is moss and lichen, a similar type. This is more like a thick paint that you can put on. And then I also tried to dab on in certain areas this gray, what is this? Thick mud, industrial mud, which is a grayish type color. And as you know, most trees aren't brown, they're gray. So, I don't know, we'll see how that looks. Well, there you can see how it looks if I don't hit the camera. So, you know, again, these aren't meant to be foreground trees. And I was just kind of messing around to see, can I save these and not, you know, throw them away or sell them? So, again, oh, of course you can't see what I'm doing if I don't point the camera, right? And then I did something similar on this one. Again, with the trunk, with the mounting nail. And then some of that, also some of the brown earth, the moss lichen. I'll probably put these together and say that they're similar, so they have a similar looking trunks. You know, I don't know. These are not, I'm not real happy, but and I do have some super trees, but they're freaking pieces of crap, I think. I think because they've been sitting around so long, they're like 3-4 years old. They're all so brittle, but I don't know, I might try something. So I don't know, I just wanted to see if I could salvage these. I have two others that I don't think are going to work, but let me just show you so you can see a technique that may have failed. Alright, these two were knock ready-made trees, and this one was a red, I guess for an apple tree or something like that. I don't know, it was bright red. I'm like, why did I buy that? Anyway, this one was more of a normal, you know, green type color. But again, the trunks were plasticky and ugh. And so I did the same thing, you know, took them out, sprayed them with the basil, sprinkled on some additional fine leaf foliage from Knock. And then these, I also added the nail at the bottom. And I did work on the trunk a little bit, again with the same techniques. Painting it a little bit, putting on some of the texture. Again, it's probably really hard to see, and then you have nothing to see to compare it to. You know, again, are these going to be okay for background trees? Maybe. I think that one may. This one, I don't know, the foliage just looks way too dense to me. You know, trees aren't solid, matted hunks of freaking foliage like that. It just looks so silly. And that's kind of the way it came. So I don't know. That one might be a loser. This one may be okay because it is a little bit more airy. You know, you can kind of see through it. And I did work on the trunk, so it looks a lot better than it did before. So maybe I can, you know, use that in kind of toward the edge. And again, you're going to be back even further than that. So you're not going to be right on top of them. So they may be okay. You know, maybe that will be okay. I don't know. I just hate to throw things away. Or sell them, which I was going to do, but you know, can I salvage these? So those are those two, again, pre-made knock trees. And then finally I did two batches of little guys. Same thing, these are all different colors. Yellow, red, white. Again, why did I buy those? I mean, not there's, you know, colors do exist, but you can see there's some red in there. I don't know if you can still see that if the camera's picking it up. But again, same thing. Oh, there's some red on this one here. If I go, maybe you can see. If I can hold it steady as I zoom in, you can see some of the red. But again, I sprayed in basil, sprinkled on some of the different color fine leaf foliage, fine leaf stuff from Knock, and also from Scenic Express, which might just be Knock stuff. So these are okay. Again, these can be kind of put in toward the base as, you know, little shrubs. I think they'll be acceptable. Again, you're going to be pretty far away. So, alright, so that's my attempt at doing some work on saving some commercial stuff that I had to get ready for the background scene.